Hey guys, welcome back with another video. Today what I'm going to show you how we can build a Pong game from scratch by using the Pygame, a third-party module that allows us for the building to the games, like two-dimensional games, and you can just work with the music, the files, and you can just refer into the documentation refer application እስከ ሊሚቴሽኑ እስከ ምኑም ይነግራችኋል ዶክመንቴሽን you can just go over the pygame.org I think pygame.org/docs ብላችሁ ምን ማለት ነው ሪዳይሬክት ማለት እንትን መግባት ነው ማለት ነው ዌብ ፔጅ እንትን ላይ ዌብሳይቱ ላይ ወይም አይዘር ክሮም ታባችሁ ላይ ወይም ዲፎልት ብራውዘር ታባችሁ ላይ ይሄንን ታይፕ ማድረግ ነው ማለት ነው so if you are not familiar with the Pygame is, as I told you, it's like a third-party module that allows for the development of two-dimensional games. This, when you say a third-party module, it cannot come within the Python installation. You should have to exclusively install it by using the same like pip install Pygame. So we can just install the Pygame. You can just after just installing this Pygame, you can just import it and also you can use that Pygame. So for the demo, the games that we are going to build is something just like this. It is just like really easy, for the beginner friendly, then I'll just show you pong.py. ምናረጋታለን ወደ ፒሲ ጌም ማለት ነው ወደ ኤግዚኪዩተብል into .exe ፎርማት ምናረጋታለን እንቀይራታለን until the እስከዛ ድረስ stay tuned with me the first thing that you have to do you are going to open the Pygame clone and also we are going to get started so the first thing that you have to do is we should have to import the Pygame module we should have to able to import the Pygame module then after this importing we should have to init we should have to init ምን ማድረግ አለብን init ማድረግ አለብን ማለት ነው in order to get started so after just initting it we should have to create a Windows surface so win which is going to be equals within the pygame.display.set which is going to be mode which is going to be this set mode is going to take a tuple this is going to take ምን ያደርጋል a tuples of what you call it the width and also the height so width and also height ብለን ምናርጋታ እናስቀምጠዋለን ማለት so we are going to define the width and height over here before width which is going to be width which is going to be equals within 750 is going to be compatible ይሆናል እንደቅድሙ 750 and also the height is going to be minimal the height is going to be equals within ከስንት ላድርገው height I think 500 is just 500 so after just creating this Pygame so we are just importing the Pygame so we are just initting or we are just initializing that Pygame node in this case we are just creating a Windows surface just like a Windows surface that is gonna contain all of those elements all of the games contain so from the Pygame there is what you call a display module from the display module there is a method what you call it set mode it takes a tuples of the width and so the height so the next thing that you have to do you should have to able to have the caption on the top left corner line caption I'm going to show you what I'm inserting from the display is going to be the display is going to be set is going to be caption is going to be in this case it takes simply KINFISH so you KINFISH which is going to be KINFISH Pong Pong game ስለዚህ KINFISH Pong game ካልናት በኋላ this is going to be set into the caption now icon we are going to play around with them so the next thing that we should have to do is we should have to able to create a something just like a game loop so this is in the basics of the game you should have to have a game loop that will going to run consistently ምን የሚያደርግ that will going to run consistently the game ምን የሚያደርግ consistently ሳያቋርጥ ምን የሚያደርግ ራን የሚያደርገው ምን መኖር አለበት ጌም ሉፕ መኖር አለበት ማለት ነው ስለዚህ ያን ጌም ሉፕ በምንድነው የምትፈጥረው by using the while loop እናደርጋለን ፈጥራለን። the first thing that we have to do is true, which is going to be equals using true እናደርጋለን። so after while is true, while is true ሲሆን እናደርጋለን we are going to delay something like it's not that much valuable, but we are going to time from the time we are going to dot delay to the 100 millisecond or 0.1 second. Then after we should have to loop through the events. So the events. So the events are such as the communication between the objects. In this case, they are just like the communication between the users and so the computers. So by internal computer ያለው communication ምን ይባላል? event በሚለው concept እንወስዳታለን። ስለዚህ for the events that are found inside of the pygame event dot get. ስለዚህ the pygame dot event dot get, and also after just having this we can just event dot type, which is going to be equals within pygame type ከምን ጋር እኩል ከpygame dot queue ጋር ከሆነ እናደርጋታለን we are going to simply queue it. ስለዚህ is true እንዳለን which is going to be set to the false እንዳለን ማለት so is going to be equality operator and assignment operator አይደለም ማለት ስለዚህ is true is going to be set to false. ስለዚህ after just it's going to break out that loop, and also we should have to able to break out of the what we call it the game pygame dot queued. After just having this you can just queue it እናደርገዋለን ማለት ስለዚህ then just run it python pong, which is going to be pong clone dot py እንላታለን ማለት pong clone dot py. as you see just like continuous surface ነው ስለዚህ እንደ ቅድሙ ቢሆን ኖሮ ምን ይሆንብን ነበር? ቅድሙ ቢሆን ምን ይሆንብን ነበር? just like ባንዴ just like በጣም fast ነው ብርጥፍት ነበር ማለት so the while loops allows us to create such types of surface so that we're going to get executed repeatedly. So in this case we have something like now when just press X there is no error, so we can just loop we can just now is true false arbitan now get out of that loop arbitan ማለት ነው. The next thing that we should have to do, we should have to able to create a classes are essentially a template or the blueprint for just like a template or a blueprint for the things that you just want to store the information in, just like a specification for the custom data type. So now there is something what we call it the paddles የሚባሉ ነገሮች አሉ. paddles are essentially ምኖች ናቸው? paddles ናቸው ባሮች ናቸው። እነዛ ባሮችን አርስ ምኖች ተብሎ ይጠራሉ? paddles ተብሎ ይጠራሉ ማለት ነው። እና ኳሱ ደግሞ ፖንግ ብለን ወይም ቦል ብለን እንጠራታለን። ስለዚህ in setting of the paddles we are going to create the paddle class. This paddle class get inherit from the pygame dot sprite is going to be dot sprite class. From the sprite module we are just importing the sprite what we call it the sprite class. So we are just inheriting all of the functionality that the sprite will going to have. The sprite already have ያለውን እናደርጋለን በፓድል እናደርጋለን ኢንሄሪት አድርገናል ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ after this we can just initialize ማለት ነው. initialize methods something just like a magic variable ተብሎ ይጠራሉ. underscore at the beginning and the ending. ስለዚህ at the default is going to take a self as an argument. the default ናቸው default ናቸው። ስለዚህ after just taking we should have to initialize the paddle we should have to initialize the pygame sprite and the pygame sprite. From the sprite module we should have to initialize the sprite class in order to get the paddle to have all of the functionality that the sprite already have. So the pygame dot ምናደርጋለሁ sprite dot ምናደርጋለሁ I'm going to take that okay sprite. After just setting this sprite you can just use a dot init constructor now that pass for giving the initial value. So I'm going to pass a self as an argument. We should have to refer to the current object. So the first thing that we should have to do, we should have to able to draw the actual paddle. So self is going to be self dot image, which is going to be equals with and self dot image, which is going to be the pygame. From the pygame we are going to import the surface እናደርጋለን import እናደርጋለን. This surface is going to take a list of the height and the width. So the width is going to be set to 10 and also the height will going to be set to 75. And also we should have to have some just like self dot. We should have to have the image in order to fill that image. So we should have to have image dot fill. This image is going to be filled within a specific color. So we should have to able to determine those colors. The black the black are responsible for the having you mean RGB color color 0 0 and also 0. The white color is gonna be equals within 255 and also what you call it 255 because the limit is gonna be red green blue not RGB color so we should have to able to this will take we're gonna take a tuples of the three different color is gonna be the RGB so we can pass the black or the white in this case white surface black and also we should have to able to the next thing is going to be should have to able to create a rectangle so rectangle are especially in the pie game they are really important because if you just everything in the Python like movement you should have to able to use a rectangle because a rectangle for the collision detection now for the movement of the objects ምን ያደርጋል በጣም valuable በጣም አሪፍ ሚና ነው የሚጫወተው ማለት ስለዚህ self dot rect we are going to refer to the self dot image dot get which is going to be rect so we are just getting the rectangular value of this image we are just referring to this image then we are just getting the rectangular values of the image so after just getting this the next thing we should have to do is going to be determining the self dot score self dot score essentially score is going to set to 0 so we have successfully created the what we call it the paddle and also the next thing that we should have to create it we should have to able to create the Pong. The Pong will going to essentially take the same pattern, but the only things that are going to different them is going to be all of this stuff is going to be changed on the Pong. So I'm going to take this copy, the class, and also the def init, and also the spread having the spread class get inherit from the inheriting the spread class ተመሳሳይ ነገር ነው ማለት ነው። on the Pong ስንገባ Pong ምን አርጋታለን እንዳያችሁት a tiny square ናት a tiny square not having the square the 10 by 10 not so to draw the image and so pie game dot is going to be surface is going to be pixel is 10 by 10 not after just having this in this በዚህም ኬዝ ላይ ምን አርጋታለን self dot image dot ምን አርጋለን field ተመሳሳይ ምን አርጋለን white and fill after just filling the white we should have to able to the next thing we should have to able to create a rectangle in order to check for the collision and also for the movement for the actual movement so in this case self dot which is going to be image dot get right so after just having this stuff so the next thing that we should have to do the defining some variables but they are not we are going to deal with something like the speed which is going to be set to 10 በደንብ እንትን ላችሁ ትችላላችሁ but በኋላ ምን ያደርጋል ላይገባችሁ ይችላል but now is going to ላይገባችሁ in this case when I just said the speed to the 10 the speed how the Pong will going to progress የሚያደርግበት ማለት እና is going to be x change አለው is going to be set to the 1 and also I'm going to have a self dot which is going to be self dot y change which is going to be equal to 1 ይኖራል ማለት ነው ስለዚህ እነዚህ may not ላይገባችሁ ይችላል አሁን በኋላ ላይ ምን እናደርገው ነው የምንጠቀማቸው ናቸው ማለት ነው እነዚህ ሁሉ ሊስት ያደርግናቸው በኋላ ምን እናደርጋቸዋለን እንጠቀማቸዋለን ማለት ነው after just creating the instance of them so the next thing that we should have to do is we should have to able to create the actual instance of this class which what we call it the objects so the objects can be created something like paddle there is two paddles so there is a paddle one and also if you are familiar with object oriented programming in the Python it's easy how we can just create an object and now how we can just create a class and also how we can just access the attribute or the specific piece of the information about the entities or the objects that we just want to store information in or we just want to mod it so as we just take the actual instance of the paddle and also we should have to set a certain things we what we call it that from the paddle we have seen the rect the rect attribute that we have mentioned over here እንወስዳታለን ስለዚህ paddle1 dot rect dot ዶት ኤክስ ቫልዩ እናደርጋለን ሴት እናደርጋለን ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ እኛ የምንፈልገው ቱ እንደ ቅድም እንዳየነው ጌሙን ስንሰራው እንዳየነው ቱ ሌፍት እና ቱ ራይት ፓድሎች አሉን ማለት ነው። ዛሬ ግንቢ ሙቭ የሚያደርጉ ራሳችን ምን ማድረግ አለብን? ሙቭ እናደርጋት ፓድል አለችን። ስለዚህ ቱ ኤክስ ዳይሬክሽን ፓድሏን አት ሌፍት ያለውን ስንሰራ ቱ ኤክስ ዳይሬክሽን እናደርጋታለን። ቱ ኤክስ ዳይሬክሽን ቱ ኤክስ ኮኦርዲኔት ስንሰጣታለን 25 እንሰጣታለን ማለት ነው። ማለትም ትንሽ ከእንትኑ ጋር አይለጠፍም ማለት ነው። ከሌፍት ሳይዱ ጋር ምናደርግም አይለጠፍም ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ the paddle one dot rect dot y axis ደግሞ is going to be half of the height half of ይወስዳል የሄቱን half ይወስዳል ማለት ነው። ሄት ሲካፈል ወደ that means ግማሽ ላይ እንዲሆን የምንፈልግ ማለት ነው። እዛ ሄት ሲካፈል ሁለት እናደርገዋለን ማለት ነው። So next thing that you should have to do is you have to create the paddle to the actual strategy. I'm going to set into the paddle after just creating this all stuff. So there is something that you have to set the paddle to dot the dot rect. Same thing you start paddle to dot rect dot x is going to be equals reason ያኛው ደግሞ the whole width ሲቀነስ 25 ማለትም በሴም ፕሮፖርሽን ለማድረግ ዊድዙን በስንት ነው ሴት ያደረግነው? ሲሲ ዊድዙ 750 ሲቀነስ 25 ማድረግ ነው ማለት ነው። ምክንያቱም እዚህ ጋር 25 አለናል። ስለዚህ 25 ማለት ኔት 25 አለን ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ወደ ራይቱ ደግሞ ኔት 25 ትርፍ እንዲኖረን እንፈልጋለን ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ኔት 25 ትርፍ እንዲኖረን ማለትም ኦል ዘ ዌይ ስፔስ በማን ይወሰዳል? በእንትኑ እየገፋ ነው ማለትም ከ25 ጀምረን ወደ ራይት ስንሄድ እየጨመርን ነው የምንሄደው ማለት ነው። ኤክስ ኮኦርዲኔታችን እየጨመረን ስለሚመጣ ከ25 እስከ ዊድስ ሲቀነስ ምን ስናደርግ ዊድስ ሲቀነስ 25 ይሆናል ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ዊድስ ሲቀነስ 25 ማለትም ዊድስ ሲቀነስ 25 ስናደርግ እዛ ጋር ከዜሮ ወደ 25 እንሄድ ነው። እዚህ ጋር ከ0 ወደ 25 እንሄድ ነው። should have to note that from 0 coordinate to the 25 እንሄድ ነው። እዚህ ጋር ደግሞ ከስንት ኮኦርዲኔት ነው የምንሄደው? ከ0 ኮኦርዲኔቱ ለዚህኛው paddle 2 is going to be the actual width ነው ማለት ነው። the actual width ነው ማለት ስለዚህ the actual width ነው 0 coordinate ስለዚህ we are going to subtract 25 from it and so we are going to get the actual rectangular the rect of the x coordinate እናገኛለን ማለት ስለዚህ the paddle 2 dot rect I'm going to have dot rect and so dot y is going to be the same is going to be height ምን አድርጋል ሲካፈል ለሁለት እናደርጋለን ማለት ነው። So after just creating these two instances of the actual class, we should have to create the Pong object. So we should have it's going to be should have to be Pong the class paddle አይደለም Pong ነው የምንሰራው ማለት ነው። እዚህ ጋር Pong which is going to be called using the Pong class. We are just creating the actual instance so Pong dot rect ምን አድርጋለን Pong dot rect dot x ደግሞ ምን አድርጋለን as default ምን ላይ እንድትሆን የምንፈልገው እኛ ሴንተር ላይ እንድትሆን የምንፈልገው። ስለዚህ ሴንተር ላይ ለማድረግ ምንድነው ዊት ሲካፈል ለሁለት ማድረግና ፖንግ ምን ያደርጋለን rect dot y is going to be height ሲካፈል ለሁለት ነው። but this ይሄ ራሱ ምን ያደርገው fully compatible at the center አያደርገውም because as you see over here there is surface ሴት ያደርገው surface አለን ማለት ነው። ሰርፌስ አለን ስለዚህ ሰርፌሱ ካለን በኋላ this surface by itself take a certain ምን ያደርጋል የራሱን by itself ምን ያደርጋል ትንሽ እንትን ይወስዳል ማለት ነው። ለራሱ ስፔስ በ10 ስለሚወስድ እኛ ምን ማድረግ አለብን ከኮምፔር ከ10 ጋር እንቀንሰዋለን ማለት ነው።